Can you believe it is September 30th, 2024? It's me, God's comic, Brad Stine, and this is, in fact, Brad Stine Has Issues where comedy, conservatism, and Christianity collide in a cacophony of clarity. Today's guest is a unique actor that you have seen around for a long time, Nick Searcy, who also happens to be in the brand new movie that came out this weekend called Vindicating Trump. It's a Dinesh D'Souza kind of docudrama about just the idea of what happened to a guy who was a business mogul who decided to run for president and how the powers that be decided to do everything they could to destroy him. It is a unique movie, and I happen to be in it, as does Nick. So we had Nick here in town on this wooden desk, not on the desk, Wyatt. I think what we did was we let him sit in front of the desk.
Yeah, the camera angles were a bit weird, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, he wasn't on the desk.
No. We tried that, didn't work out.
Didn't work. It looked weird. It looked like he was a meal. It looked like he was at a medieval knight's feast.
Well, really what it made it look like is that you were tiny because forced perspective and stuff.
That's right.
He was in front of the camera and you were behind it. And I mean, like, just look at your stance. Like, you already kind of look like a bit short.
Right.
Like, your feet don't even touch the floor.
Yeah.
And
because I'm 5'6". So you're saying this made me look like 5'2"?
5'2", is generous, but yeah.
Oh, 2'5"?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Well, listen, I was there, Wyatt. I did something last Friday as we tape this. We're pre-recording this, and we'll be talking about that here in just a moment as to why we're pre-recording, because I am here in town, and we usually only pre-record when I'm not going to be here. You know why?
Well, because it's more fun to do it live.
Well, it is more fun to do it live, but why do we pre-record when I'm not going to be here on a Monday night?
Because we're always here Monday, 7 Central? Central. Every day, 7 Central, Monday, every Monday.
No, the answer was, because if I'm not here, how else could we do it?
Sock puppets? I've already have yours made.
How did you make, what kind, did you make me out of a wool puppet? I want to be a big fat wool puppet.
Ooh, no dress socks, unfortunately.
Striped, argyle, black, white? Plaid? I'm not Scottish.
You look like a plaid guy.
Okay,
Because
well.
it's one word, a letter away from glad.
I pled guilty. Listen, I need to tell you something, Wyatt, and I need to do it as you stifle your laugh from that incredible pun. I did something this past Friday. I see his face, and he is just
you don't get a laugh.
He's smirky and laughing on the inside.
It took me a while to get it because I straight up didn't hear the pun and had to go back through the conversation.
Oh, in your head or?
Yeah, in my head. And even then, I'm just guessing.
Okay, I pled guilty.
Oh. I thought you said, I thought the pun was I plead quilty.
No, I didn't say that. That would have been good. I pled quilty.
It would have been good, yeah. And that's why you didn't use it.
No, I didn't want that one. That would have been too obvious. That's more of a Wyatt pun. Wyatt, I did something Friday. So what is this, Monday? So Sunday, 3 days ago. I did something 3 days ago that I've never done in my life, in my career, ever. And I just did it.
I don't know.
Want to take a wild guess?
Let's see, wild guess. Used your social media for any actual good purpose. Interact with people, not just post comedy clips, that sort of thing.
No, because we've learned that crashes my Facebook and turns it into rubble.
Facebook, quick question. Why does it hurt the Facebook page to use the Facebook page? Isn't that the whole point of the Facebook page?
Is to use it?
Yeah, to use it.
So you're saying using the Facebook page is the best use of the Facebook page?
Well, otherwise, why would you use it?
Oh, because it wouldn't be useful without having...
I'm just saying, I'm used to use.
Well, listen, here's what we found out. It's kind of a double-edged sword, son. So a number of months ago, I started this brand new idea. I went Facebook Live on my phone as I was walking. Did you know I walk every day for my heart.
Well, everybody walks every day except the paraplegic, I guess.
Well, he rolls every day, I hope.
Well, yeah, but that's only like arm exercise. Is that really
But
the
they're
same
super
thing?
strong. These dudes can do like super benches because that's all they
Yeah,
have is
yeah.
their upper
I mean, it's all they
body
have.
strength.
Yeah, it's all they can do.
So
Yeah.
they nail it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, anyways, I walk every day for my heart because my heart had plaque, and through changing of diet and some things, I actually reduced the plaque. I did something that my physician said he had never had seen a guy do, kind of reversed my plaque because of my changing of my diet and so forth. So, there you have it. And I also prayed that God would change the molecular structure of my cholesterol so it didn't stick to my arteries. So I added a spiritual dimension to the physical change. And between the two of them, I actually saw incredible results by it. No thanks to you.
Okay, I wasn't asking for thanks.
Okay, well, just in case you were,
I wasn't.
You don't get to receive anything.
Good job, but I wasn't.
Well, anyways, I walk every day, and I started this crazy thing where I took my phone, because I listen to people, I like podcasts and stuff as I walk. I try to learn things. And I went to Facebook Live. You just press live, and it literally is recording you live, like by satellite or however they do it. I don't know how they do it, White, or I would have made my own Facebook, but I don't know how they did it. And it shows me talking, and it's totally extemporaneous. You know what that means?
Spontaneous, instantaneous, off the cuff.
Okay, well, I didn't ask for 3, look how smart I am, synonyms, but yeah, that's what it means.
Look, I knew 3 synonyms.
Yeah.
I wanted to use 3 synonyms.
Okay. Do you know
If I
4?
wasn't supposed to use 3 synonyms, then why 3 synonyms did there exist?
I'll bet you there's more, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Oh,
That
no,
was-
I didn't want to steal all your thunder.
No, you just took the good parts, the best of the thunder you took.
Well, what's the point of taking the worst?
Mm.
If I'm going to go for gold, I ain't going to shoot silver.
Okay, well, see, at least I left you with that. To be a go-getter, to seek the highest accolades.
And do not care who gets in your way. Blow past all of them. They don't deserve it.
Oh, I don't recall teaching you Machiavellian techniques.
No,
but-
I could see it in your mannerisms. You know, the way you looked at that gold trophy.
Don't think I won't have my own gold trophy someday, Wyatt. I'm not giving up.
Okay. Well, what's that gold trophy going to be in? Getting silver?
I don't know. That one got me. That one got me. That was a little. That was clever to a certain
I have my
degree.
moments.
I'll give you a bronze for that. Now listen. Here's the thing. I'm trying to figure out where I was. Oh, so I was walking every day. I was on my Facebook Live, and it goes immediately to Facebook. Okay, so people could jump on, and I'd see them because it shows you. Look, 1 guy's watching, 3 guys watching, 25 guys are watching, 40 guys, whatever it is, right? And that's how, by the way, Brett's Unhad Issues started. Was a Facebook Live, and I'd see a couple hundred people getting on. I was mind boggled, and so I did it while walking, and and I call it my daily bread. So it's a pun, a takeoff on Daily Bread, which is a very old periodical that is people can pay for, and it's sent to them by mail. My grandmother used to read them, and they're called Daily Breads, and they're devotionals, right? So for daily devotionals. So I made a pun and called the Daily Bread the Daily Brad, and I just said, God, show me what to say, and I would just extemporaneously let her fly. So I didn't have any notes. I didn't go in there thinking, I think I'll say this. I didn't have any cue cards, like some guy walking backwards the whole time with giant cue cards. That wasn't happening. I literally was just sort of letting her fly and hoping there was some value there. So it was very organic, very off the cuff, very extemporaneous, and hopefully spiritually sound. I hope that it actually had some connection to God's, desire for me to try to inspire people. Well, here's the thing. It got good reviews. People would watch and they would comment. And at the end of it, I'd say, hey, please join the Mighty 10,000 as all of our people out there that are watching right now. Of course, Nick Kress, of course, is watching. Aaron Boyd, right, is watching. We know that. The Bushquacker, I hope, has finally come back. He seemed to have abandoned us. Obviously, Ashley Haas. Her name is Ashley, but I said Ashley Haas, so it would sound more rhythmic to Haas, which is her last name. We have Stan Stinson's, we have Forrest Bainey, we have Danny Herring. We have all these wonderful, committed, loyal fans that watch on a regular Monday basis, which makes me think to myself, do you think they have anything else to ever come up on Monday that they just abandoned?
I mean, if they did, was it really that important if they dropped it all on the just randomly the moment you decided to start doing this on Monday?
But we're talking about some of these folks have been here with me for like 3 years, Wyatt.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
cannot imagine something in 3 years didn't pop up on a Monday they needed to do.
I mean, I haven't had anything popping up on a Monday in 3 years.
You haven't?
You haven't.
Oh.
Well, I can actually no, you have sometimes. But seriously, how do you keep missing your own podcast? No, but none of us else do. Only you.
Well,
You're the only regular on Brad Steiner's Issues who regularly misses Brad Steiner's Issues.
it's because of my humbleness. I don't want to watch myself and be inspired like that guy's good. I feel like I need to keep myself on an even keel, bring it down, don't take a lot of credit, don't take a lot of accolades. Just let the show speak for itself, Wyatt.
Okay, but you're the one speaking for it.
So I am the star then?
I mean, you're the one in front of the camera, and
So
that's not just because we didn't have a camera for me. No, what are you talking about?
That's because I'm the star?
Currently, yes.
Okay, well, that could change apparently. With you in your Machiavellian ways, you have to cut off the head to take over. Well, listen, let me tell you something. When we started doing this Facebook Live, it messed with the algorithms. Apparently, what happens is this. Believe it or not, Facebook doesn't hire somebody for the billions of people that use Facebook individually to watch my page and my interaction and to get in there and decide if I said something wrong or did it wrong, or, I'm going to let him share this or let him invite followers, whatever it is that they do over there. I don't know. I don't have a Facebook that I created, so who knows? I might have done it differently. But they allow you to put on so much content, and then they allow it through some kind of algorithm, so it must just be internal to their functioning platform, that they'll allow your stuff to reach out to the people that follow you. Now, believe it or not, even if you have a lot of followers, and I have a pretty good bunch, they don't all get my posts. So you're thinking, well, wait a minute, what's the point of followers if you don't let them follow you? And of course, it's because we didn't really want them to follow you. We just wanted to make money. And so we're really going to limit the followers. And if you really want to get to all the followers who wanted to follow you in the first place, we're going to charge you for that. I'll say, okay, it's your place. That's what free enterprise is. But it messed with my ability to bring in followers, and that's monetized. Now, if you're watching this and you remember the days when we would go live on Facebook doing the Brad Stein Has Issues, we had a lot more people watching and a lot more people sharing it, but it would also have commercials and stuff, and everybody was annoyed, as am I. If I'm watching a podcast or listening, I have to scroll through or try to push past the guy talking about his sponsor, or I have to skip. I get it. I don't like it either, but I also know that for them to be here every time and have a camera and have a crew and have a people and have a thing and record it and edit it and do the thing, you got to pay for it. You have to pay for it. And if I don't charge people to watch my podcast, then how do I do that? Well, you do that through the ads and everything. So it doesn't really cost you anything. It doesn't come out of pocket. And you are paid to be able to do the things you need. I pay Wyatt, right? I pay him for doing this. I don't pay myself. I've never been paid yet for this podcast. And here we are. We're on Salem Network now. I mean, we're actually moving forward. We have people that have done ads on the Salem Network. We've had people that are looking to be sponsors on this podcast. That hasn't worked out yet, but we're trying to put all those pieces together. I still haven't been paid because I'm trying to make sure the model works, the ministry works, and that everybody else gets this in a position where it is self-sustaining, and then I'll be the last one to be paid. That's what it means to be an entrepreneur, to be self-employed. You take the brunt of the heat. And so even though I go to bed oftentimes weeping because I'm hungry, I don't have food, I know and have the solace that Wyatt goes to bed full of pizza and burritos that I supplied by paying him for a podcast that I've created that I have never been paid for or compensated for. and how he can sleep at night, I don't know.
Like a baby.
Well, anyways, here's the key. We had to stop doing the Facebook Lives. And so even putting clips on somehow disrupted the algorithm because they only give you so much. And we found that my comedy clips, which by the way is probably what brought you guys here in the first place. You saw my comedy, you like my comedy, you said, look, he's there live. Let's go check him out. And that's why you're here. So I give props where props are due. And it does bring up a point that I need to address, and I might as well address it now. Why not? It is my show. I can kind of do whatever I want. So here's what the point is, and it's a little bit. I'm not sure how I want to approach this. It's a little bittersweet, maybe is the word I'm looking for, or a little melancholy. But here's the thing. So the last few weeks that we've been doing this on YouTube, and I'm trying to build my YouTube presence so that it also has a lot of subscribers, so it can be monetizing and allow it to exist and grow and reach more people. And again, my whole podcast, my whole career has become a message about Jesus Christ to the world. I started out more politically motivated, or at least political and cultural relevance motivated. I've never gone in based on a political candidate. I've never used my comedy to say, vote for this or vote for this party. It's always been about the culture. Here's what is wrong. Here's what is right. Here's what's moral. Here's what's immoral. That's what I've tried to do with my comedy. So I always sort of inculcated the political realm, right? If we're going to give that as a hook for the name of how we engage culture, your worldview, right? With my faith, it was all part of it. That's why I say it's comedy. That's how I deliver it. Conservatism, that's the philosophy. Christianity, that's the truth. That's the revelation of reality. Colliding, all culminating in a cacophony, noisy, big, out there, smashing around, slashing around, of clarity, trying to give you some hope and some inspiration that actually gets somewhere that is true. So that's what this whole thing has turned into over me sitting out in my underpants, watching myself on my laptop 3.5 years ago. So we started doing the YouTube, and that's important because, you know, it's something that should grow, and I want to be a lot more subscribers, and I would hope you'll help me maybe by sharing this on YouTube as I have with Facebook, so that A, I have as many platforms that can hear me as possible, and B, if one of them have decided, and unfortunately this is the reality of the world we live in now, that some of these platforms no longer believe in free speech, but will eliminate you if you say things they don't agree with or don't like, then I need some options. I need to have other places to talk, because as a conservative, I don't censor people, but leftists do. And if they control the dissemination of information, they will stop you from speaking. That's just the difference between them and us. They don't believe in free speech. They believe in speech that they're comfortable with, and that also has to align with their philosophy. It's a systemic narcissism, and it's totalitarian, but they don't care because they've taught themselves that they're good guys, so they're allowed to treat others evilly because they're the good people. Now, it doesn't get more narcissistic than that, but it's what we're dealing with. Nevertheless, that being said, we found in the last few weeks that as we recorded to YouTube, we're allowed to go out live with YouTube while we were recording, that my mouth was out of sync with the audio. Now, we've had, as you guys know, you great fans have been around, we've had lots of issues. It's why it's always been ironic that this was called Brad Stine Has Issues, and we'd always make a joke about how many issues we were going through trying to make the podcast work throughout these years, and it's certainly come a long way, thank you, Jesus. But what we've discovered and what my crew has told me, the tech folks, is you really need to pre-record these lives right here that will attach to the Zooms or the live interviews, which are also pre-recorded, so they'll match. And so if this ends up on a television program or some platform that shows the visual, whereas Salem just shows the audio, it's going to look right. It's going to look professional. It's going to look good. It's going to look like somebody is doing this that actually cares about quality. So we have to pre-record, and and I'm like, that's fine. I'll do, because And here's the hard part. So I want you guys to listen to me carefully, especially you guys watching me, because you have been the most loyal fans. And I've kind of become friends with some of you guys. There's some of you who have visited my home and have been my friends, like Ashley Haas and her parents have been in my home and even been in front of this behind this desk. I have had those who have visited me at live events like Nick and Karen and Stan Stinson, I think. And we've been friends and taken pictures and we've had some laughs together. And you've been so supportive. And so, in some ways, part of what made this interesting was we talked to each other. I'd get my little iPad, which always screwed up because of Wyatt. Remember, Wyatt is incompetent. This is key for you to understand why things go south. But I would say, hey, Karen, hey, Stan, hey, Paula Faye Marie Rauchi, my favorite four-name lady, and things like that, because we became a little tiny family. But I also noticed something. I realized something, you guys. Because this started during the cult of Corona, a lot of people didn't have as much work to do. They were doing stuff from home. They just weren't doing the same things they were doing. And so to watch something, to get involved with something, to spend money on something, to get behind something, to be part of a movement, it was more important at that time. There was more at stake. It felt like we've got to join together, and there was more of a community that was necessary. Well, that's kind of moved on. And so we kind of let it escape. We're going kind of back into our regular lives. By the way, you'll never go back to your regular lives. Your lives will never return to what they were. We are now at a crisis point in the United States where it may never, ever, ever again be filled with liberty and freedom. It will simply be controlled by those who want to control it. And you know what? Empires die. Unfortunately, Rome died. Britain is dead. Europe is dead. Places that used to control and gave us the greatest freedoms in human history, egalitarian wise, that people of all cultures could come. And if you just were part of our system, you could have free speech, you could be protected, you could go to school, you could make money, there'd be a middle class that never existed. It worked because of the Judeo-Christian truth. Why? Because Christ is in fact God. The end. He proved it, he did it, nobody's ever done it since. If you're Jewish, he's your Messiah. If you've abandoned him, not unusual. The first Jews abandoned Jesus in the Old Testament, but the first Christians were Jews. So there were those who said, I see it. I see the prophecies. I see this. And there are many interesting videos out there of people talking to Orthodox Jews and explaining Isaiah to them. And sometimes they go, yeah, that would be Jesus. Anyways, it's a spiritual dimension and blinding of those who think that somehow it's going to be used to destroy their Judaism, as opposed to simply adding more elements to it. So that's on them. They will face God one day, and they will have to do with it as they choose. But my obligation is to speak it. So I realized, guys, that as much as I will talk about culture, that's what I'm here for, as much as my comedy is going to talk about culture, and by the way, on November 3rd, Sunday, I'm going to run 2 shows in Zanies for Laugh While It's Legal, my new show. If you guys want to come, if some of you want to come over and get in, matter of fact, let me know if you're going to show up. If some of you, like Karen's in South Carolina, Ashley's in Illinois, Nick's in Minnesota. But if anybody's close enough that you want to make a drive, I'm not asking you, but if you want to, tell me in this thread right now, say I'm going, and I'll send you a link so you can buy the ticket. I'll make sure that you guys get in, because it's only 100 people. I'm doing 2 shows, 100 person per set. If you want to come, if you don't, that's fine. I'm with you guys. I love you guys. You don't have to make this trek. But if you want to, say so, and I'll make sure you don't miss out. But pre-recording is what we have to do now, because it's going to make it better. And my hope and my prayer is this, for all of you guys watching, as much as I love to say hi and go through and scroll through and interact with you guys, and I did it because it was this family we created, I have a bigger mission. I have a bigger point, and it is this: to send people to Jesus Christ. That's it. Politics ain't going to help us. Trump's not going to fix this. He's not going to heal us. Elon Musk's not going to heal us. America staying free isn't the answer. The answer is knowing the living God, because we are at the end of the age, folks. It is the single most important thing, especially if you consider yourself a Christian, to repent, get on your knees and say, God, I need to be a disciple. This is the single most important thing I can do, and bring love and hope and power and joy and forgiveness and empathy, but also the proof of the future. Here's what's coming. We see it. Let us help you. Come join us. Let God give you a freedom and give you eternal life. That's my role. That's my purpose. And if that's true, that I have to move on from the idea of just saying hi to everybody and making it sort of this little miniature fan gathering, and make it for the world. That's what it's for. But you guys participated. You're the ones that, as I've said a million times, you donated, you built this. Some came personally and literally did the labor. You did it all. If this inspires people, and it does, if people get saved from this, and they have, if people get changed from this, and they have, if they grow and want to become deeper believers, and they have, you will be rewarded. The Bible says that you those who participate in the body, you have different gifts, but whatever you do to participate in your church that helps other people get saved, you get a piece of that. So you're not doing it to get a reward, but the reward comes. That's how God works. You do what God said, he'll give you more than you could have asked for. So I'm not forgetting you guys. I'm not abandoning you guys. I'm not forgetting about you guys. I'm not doing this flippantly or heartlessly. I would rather us be the old buddies we used to be when we had 40 and 50 and 60 people and said hi. But we're moving to a new place where we have to be able to make this as good as it can be so that hopefully it will end up on a much bigger platform. And we're going to reach out to different people that might allow this to grow. I want you to always show up if you choose. Listen, if you feel like my work is done and I don't know that I'm going to show up every Monday anymore, I get it. God bless you. I'm sure all of you are militia of the mind, so I still have your emails. Probably most of you are Mighty 10,000, so we'll always stay in touch. If this grows, if it ever ends up somewhere where it becomes huge and people can come back and say hi again, I promise you, you will always be remembered, given access to things, always. I promise you. And Wyatt and I can still watch the show and try to say hi to you and talk to you that way. Can't always do it, but we can try to do that literally while you're watching our own show to say hi. But it's for this to move to the next level. This is what's now expected of us. I hope you keep coming back. I hope you've enjoyed your own community, and so you're just as happy to talk to each other and do that. But we want to make this such a great, and I hope that you watch it grow and get more mature, more sophisticated. And I hope you guys watch this thing turn into something that God uses miraculously. And I hope you can look back and say, wow, thank you, God. Let me be part of that. I saw that vision. I participated, and look what God has done. I hope that's how this all ends up. I started this entire talk saying to my son who fell asleep, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about. I said to him, I did something Friday, 2 days ago, that I've never done before. I went to a movie, Wyatt. I went to a movie on Friday. Now, why would that seem odd when I said I've never done that before?
Oh, well, I mean, when it's a movie you're in, that's probably not something you do all the time.
Well, here's the difference, and that is true. That's the answer. But here's the difference. I went the first day it was open because the first weekend's the most important. If it does the numbers, they'll open up more theaters. So I tried to participate. So I wanted to invest in something that I believed in and was part of. So I bought 2 tickets. You and your mom and I went to the movie on Friday. Weird. I bought tickets. So for the first time in my career, 25 films, I bought ticket to see my own movie. That's what I had never been. I've seen I've gone to premieres where a movie I was in was playing. I have seen it on, Rumble. Well, I mean, I think we might have paid for it on Rumble, now that I think about it, for Jingle Smells. But that's just because that's the way you can get it. Or maybe they did send me the screener. I don't know. But anyways, it was the first time that I can remember that I just went to a normal showtime, plunked money down, bought the tickets, went in, found a seat, sat down with some popcorn, and watched a movie I was in. Now, I don't know how the weekend went. I'm going to contact them and see. I hope it went gangbusters, and so they get a lot more. But one of the co-stars, along with me, and who had an even, I think, a bigger role, maybe even a better role as far as the significance of what he did, was Nick Searcy. Well, guess what? Nick Searcy is here on Brad Stine Has Issues stage, and he is our interview. So you're going to, for those of you, and I know Ashley loves the artists when they come on. I think Karen does too. Probably all of you do, but he's an actor. He's a character actor. So he's one of these guys that you look at him and go, I've seen him. I remember him in something, but I don't know his name. That's who he is. And if you go to his IMDb, you'll see the films that he was involved with, and some of them you will know. Fried Green Tomatoes he was in, and The Dead Girl, which is a very dark, and he played a serial killer, pretty rough. But anyways, he was. I was in a movie with him many years ago called Welcome to Paradise. We were not in the same scene, and I never met him, but he was in the same movie. So we've been actually in 2 movies, one of which I got to do a scene with him, one I didn't. But he's here. And so he got bumped up. We had another guest we were going to put in, but we had to bump him only because this is the weekend that Vindicating Trump came out, September 30th, 2024. So when you watch this a year from now, you'll understand what am I talking about. But Nick's in it. And so I thought we need to bring him in, talk about the movie, talk about his career, talk about acting, talk about his faith, talk about America. He's a conservative who's cost him, as all of us, work and opportunities because he had a different point of view than those who control media, because they are the left, and the left cannot stand or allow dissent. They can't, because nobody wants what they have, so they have to beat you over the head with it until you succumb or die. It's that big, it's that real, it's that horrific of what is happening to the West, Europe first, Canada certainly, and now the U.S. I'm going to fight. I'm going to believe for a third great awakening. If you're watching for the first time, go to bradstine.com. Join the Militia of the Mind. It's free. It'll get me your email. Join the Mighty 10,000. That will give you a number of one of 10,000 who said, I want to be a disciple for Christ. If that's what you want to be, it will give you some access to some interesting things that only you will get. And that's why we are here. Again, I will always be here. It's going to be pre-recorded now. We will try to come in and say hi. And participate. I hope to still do live events. I hope you show up. But no matter what you choose to do from this day forward, if you're my old fans, my own community, my old family, your work is done. If you want to move on and say, I'm done, I think I'm needing my Mondays back, I understand. Show up every now and again. We'd hate to lose you. But if you say, no, I love what this is, and I'm going to continue to participate and watch this thing blow up, and we're going to be there, God bless you. I wouldn't surprise me if you do, and we will be here thanking you, praying for you, and praying that God will continue to use this, and who knows where the world's going, but we can go together. In the end, God wins every time, and the only way that we can do this is speak truth. And part of that truth is through films, and that's what this film's all about. With this actor, who has the same worldview as most of us, and has still somehow pulled off a career. I think you're going to enjoy it. Please welcome to Brad Stine Has Issues, Nick Searcy. Wonderful actor and fellow patriot, Nick Searcy, ladies and gentlemen, to God's Stomach and Brad Stine Has Issues. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you, Brad.
My pleasure.
Thank you for that stirring
Yeah,
intro.
I wanted to lift you up and make you feel better.
Well, I'm actually not a character actor. I'm actually a lead actor trapped in a character actor's body.
You know what it is? You're a lead actor playing a character actor. That's
right.
how good you're. So good at lead acting
True.
that they actually believe you're a character
Well,
actor.
the leads are usually boring. They're just like, you're kissing the girl.
Yes.
You have all the
Who
lines.
wants that?
You have to be there every day.
They pay you,
Yeah,
and
they
the
pay you a lot
check
more.
cashes. That's
But I
ridiculous.
show up like one day a week, and it's
No,
great.
isn't that right? And craft services are not quite as elegant as the big guys get. Well, listen, I had the privilege of meeting you a few months ago when we shot this interesting little film, this provocative film that Dinesh always puts together. It's never something simple, right? He never puts something out that always, it's a family romp.
Yeah, no.
It's never something
No,
like that.
he tackles the things that need tackling,
Yeah,
that people don't want to look at sometimes. And I don't mean that in terms of they don't want to see the movie, but it's like it's an issue that people are scared of.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, it's one of the things that I said, and maybe I'll ask you this because it comes from a different angle. When I had him on this past week, I brought him on. He said, "Oh, you didn't mention you were in the movie. You were, humble and everything." And I am. I'm incredibly humble. You'll find that
Yeah, I
out
know.
throughout
I'll put your humility up against anybody.
You're not the only one. But I didn't mention I was in it. I was just, talking about him being the producer, the writer, and basically the guy that's, is engineering this machine of his.
Mm-hmm.
But it made me think of something, and maybe I'll get your take on this, because you would certainly be somebody who would be used to this navigating of your persona attached to particular types of projects. Is they asked me, now, do you want to be in the credits? And I go, why wouldn't I want to be? I mean, I'm a SAG actor, and I love doing film, and I would want to be connected to whatever I'm in, and I'm proud of I wouldn't take it if I didn't think it was something I'd be interested in. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, why should I even have to think or fear if I want to be in a movie? This is how we disseminate information. This is called free speech. Mm-hmm. Why would you even ask me? Well, we have some great people who are participants and really help make this thing happen. They don't want to be mentioned. I go, outside of you end up in a bomb that you don't want to be associated with. And once in a while, directors, what's that Alan Smithy thing that they if they don't want the director doesn't want his name attached, they put in that pseudonym. But my thinking was, first off, yeah, I want to be noticed, but B, why would I even in America have to even question whether that is up for grabs? So you're not afraid to be in there, but what is going on with even that question?
Well, it's because that's how Hollywood works. Hollywood is a bunch of intellectual bigots, and if they perceive that you are not one of them, and by not one of them I mean not a hardcore liberal, then they will, as much as they can, they will try to affect your career.
I find that hard to believe, and I'll tell you why. They are they so much like to bring up the McCarthy era of the 50s and the blacklist, and how difficult it was for these poor victims to be able to write screenplays, and they had to do them under pseudonyms and ghostwrite, and they couldn't get jobs, and it was only because all it was because they happened to be communists.
Right. That's what that's about. For them, it's not about protecting free speech; it's about protecting communists.
Right.
But that's I could tell you a long list of people whose names you would know, if not your faces, who come up to me all the time and say, I agree with what you say. I love what you're doing, but I would never, ever
what's coming next. Yeah.
Stick my neck out like that, because I know I would never work again.
And it's also why America's dying.
Yeah. Because
if that's the way you see liberty and freedom, if it has that little weight to you, then don't worry, just keep that up. And one day you won't have to worry about wondering if you should admit to you being part of this gig. You won't be here. There will be no gigs. There'll be no art. It'll be dictated by one particular point of view, and that's all you're going to get in. You ain't part of that club, that's for sure. So this is the time to say, either draw a line in the sand and say, I'm either all in for liberty or I'm not. But don't be coming to us later, like with the corona, and saying, man, we did the best we could. We just got our information. Please, let's just forget it, shall we? He said, whoa, you want me to forget that you didn't want me to work? You didn't want me to travel. You wanted to demand that I take some horror poison serum. You wanted to tell me that I should go to jail. You wanted to tell me that my kids can't eat. I shouldn't be able to shop. Right. You wanted to put me in a position where if I was sick and didn't take the vaccine, let me die. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
No, you did exactly what the regular German folks did in 1939 when they were watching people being carted into Auschwitz, going, I don't see anything.
And that's the strange thing, is that they think they're the heroes in that story, and they're not.
No,
they're the bad guys.
They're the bad guys.
It's like Robert F. Kennedy said. It's like, it's not the people that censor are never the good guys in history, and that's what they're about. That's why they want to intimidate people into not doing a film like Vindicating Trump, or to not, speak up and say, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm going to vote for Trump.
Right.
They want to just make you afraid to even say that out loud. That's their whole intention.
I guess I'm naive because I am an artist. I am. I mean, I've been a professional comedian stand-up comedian for 30 years. I was a professional sleight of hand magician prior to that. I've been in 25 films as a union actor and studied in Hollywood. So I'm legitimately an artist. That's how I've made my livelihood for many years in different eclectic elements of the performance arts. I take it serious that we have the freedom to say the things we want to say, to be part of projects we want to be part of. I'm a Christ follower, I'm a conservative, and yet I wouldn't want to censor an X-rated film or whatever. I feel like for freedom to exist, I have to allow stuff I hate to exist. I don't have to participate. Right. I can even speak against it. Mm-hmm. But the moment somebody decides I get to choose what it allows to exist, we're in a totalitarian world.
Right. And that's where they want to live. That's what they want. They want that power. That's
well, they seem to have it right now.
I mean, to some degree, yeah. I mean,
well, what institution is not controlled by the left right now?
Right. Yeah.
Show me a play, please. Show me that I can go hide. Mm-hmm. And that, well, listen, we're going to talk about this. We're certainly going to talk about this movie because, you know, in just 4 weeks, we'll be voting for the next president of the United States, and so this is crucial, important. But I would, you know, it's going to be heavy, and it's okay. This is we're doing the grunt work right now, and we're saying the hard things, and we're going to. Let's also talk about you. I mean, you're a professional actor. Let's try to find something happy before we go into the swamp.
Well, you know, I must say that, you know, in my particular case, I am sure that there are some roles that I have not gotten because somebody had said, I don't want to cast that guy. He's a conservative. He's a Republican. But I haven't gone broke. I mean, I'm still working. I had a Netflix series come out this week or about 2 weeks ago called The Perfect Couple. I'm still viable as an actor. So what I try to tell people is, you know, it may not be like you think it is if you come out and say what you think and be who you are.
I remember hearing somebody tell me, I don't remember where I was, probably on a set, but they were telling me about they had worked with Robert Redford at, maybe it was, I forget, Brubaker maybe? I don't remember the movie, but it was something to do with a prison, and it was here in Tennessee. There's
Brubaker?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And there's some old prison, maybe you've seen it or if you're in this area, but there's that they've used a lot of times for films because it's a shut down prison. It's an old looking, fortress looking, so it's perfect for a movie set. He basically said, I don't remember if it was Bush or maybe it was, I don't remember what, maybe Bush Senior. But anyways, guy had a bumper sticker. It's like, you got to take that off or they'll fire. Like, he was letting it know, here's what is allowed on my set. And we know he's a lefty, but it's not like this is something that just started.
No,
you know?
No, it's been like this forever. And, you know, that's the thing. I don't talk politics at work. You know, I don't go there and any more than I go there and talk religion at work. You know, I am who I am. Somebody asks me a question, I answer it, but I'm not there to convert them or to try to get them to vote like me. But, you know, when I'm not at work, I'll say what I please. If they want to hold that against me, that's on them. I'm not going to.
So you said that you probably didn't get hired. Would you think that you might not have even been asked to audition for certain things, perhaps?
Sure. There's certain roles that they just, you know, because I'm at a place in my life where it's kind of like, it's not a mystery about my acting. You know, they know who I am. So a lot of times people would just offer me things because I'm right for it or whatever, you know.
But you haven't played necessarily right-leaning characters throughout your career, have you? Or have they kind of typecast you?
Mostly, you know, I've played racists and serial killers
because of the Southern accent,
criminals, and, you know, I played a lot of Democrats, really.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, I played, you know, a few. I've played a few, but, you know, mostly what.
But I'm saying they're not typecasting you for that.
Not necessarily. They try to sometimes. I mean, like I said, I have played a lot of racists, but, you know, that's the nature of what Hollywood wants to make.
Yeah,
you know, they want to make. If you're an old white guy, that's where they want to put you.
And you got a Southern accent. I mean, it's perfect.
Right.
So.
Although in The Perfect Couple, I have a Boston accent.
Really?
It's very
well
different.
done. How did you prepare for the Boston accent?
I had a coach, and then I watched a lot of documentaries about Whitey Bulger.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, that works. Yeah. Well, we're here for a very specific reason to tout a particular film that needs to be seen. But I would be remiss, you know, because people also are interested in artists. They're interested in people. They're interested in things. So here you have a 30-year career as a professional actor, which isn't easy to do. It is just not easy. honestly, Nick, it's not like it's necessarily hard to get a gig. It's hard, but to luck out and finally get hired and get booked isn't necessarily hard. But to make a living just being an actor, that's really hard to do.
It has been. I've been very fortunate. I have had really great people working with me, and I had some luck. I mean, I started out in New York. I was there for 7 years in my 20s, mostly just doing plays. I never did any films. My wife and I moved back to North Carolina because we got pregnant with our first child. And that's when I started to do movies. And I did a little part in Days of Thunder, which was a big movie.
Right, and that Tom Cruise, right?
Tom Cruise, yeah.
And Robert Duvall.
And Nicole Kidman. And
were you in any scenes with those guys?
I was in a scene with Duvall, Tom Cruise, James, what's his name, Riley.
Oh yeah,
a lot of those guys. It was the big scene where the highway patrolman pulls him over on the side of the road, and then the one highway patrolman is a female and she's a fake, and she exposes her chest. And it's all a big joke that they played on the Tom.
Oh, okay. And you were like her.
I was the straight man. I was the setup guy. But that was really my first film, and then after that, I was getting little parts in movies that were shooting in North Carolina, and I went in to read for Fried Green Tomatoes for a small role, and the director bumped me up to read me for the main bad guy, and then eventually I think the one they wanted from Hollywood asked for too much money, and the director kept saying, I've got a guy in North Carolina who'll do it for nothing. So I wound up getting that part, and that kind of, when that movie did so well, and I was the main bad guy, that kind of gave me enough juice to move to Hollywood.
I tell the story, and it's going to pale in comparison to your wonderful career, because I, don't have nearly the credits and things. But to me, the coolest thing about, I don't know if I can say the coolest. It's fun to act. If you like to act, then it's fun. It's it's a great thing to do. If you're not into it, then I guess you wouldn't get it anyways. But it is fun. It's not scary. It's exciting. It's amazing. It's creative. You don't know if you're working with good people. You don't know what they're going to do, and that's what you want. Keep me on my toes because it's fun. What's going to happen? It's amazing. But what really is mind-boggling to me is when you get a role and you're playing against an actor that you have grown up watching. You can't believe you're here. It's like I have watched, and now it's me, and it's his face looking at me. And two stories, the one was Brian Dennehy. I did well, you were in the same film, Welcome to Paradise.
That's right.
We were in a film called Welcome to Paradise. They had no scene together. We never met, but we were in the same movie. Elizabeth Dennehy, which is one of his daughters, was my wife in it. So I got real carte blanche to Brian. Got to talk to him a lot and whatnot. But two things I remember. So I want to get your perspective on that because I'll bet you'll have some cool stories with the people you've worked with. One was that I was in the scene with him, and that right there is just cool. I mean, a guy was in, Rambo and Silverado and these great films. But anyways, we were doing something, and he did this kind of thing where he kind of tilted his head back, kind of like that. And I'll just remember, because you're trying to be in character, and the technical term is don't be in your head, where you're just like suddenly faking it, speaking it. You're trying to be the character. But he did this little move, and in my mind, it's like, I have seen him do that move. It's like his tick. It's like his signature little thing. But suddenly I'm like, in my head, like, he's doing it for me. He's doing the thing that I saw him do in Silverado, or I saw him do in Cocoon, so that was interesting to notice that guys have little signature moves, it seems. I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or if they're doing it like, this is one of my things I do, or one of my moves.
Probably starts as a subconscious thing and maybe becomes more conscious.
Yeah, it becomes the kind of, like maybe with Clinton doing his thing when he was, maybe he was doing that because of the sun, but he said, that's a cool look, and from then on it became his look. And then my first thing I ever got booked at, finally got a gig. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into it. But when I got my first gig, I was on screen for 5 seconds. I was bringing a whiskey and a hot dog to a guy thrown in prison jail for murder, and he was being set up. It was a HBO film. Anyways, but the actor was James Caan. So and Bob Rafelson was the director.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my first gig.
5 Easy Pieces.
5 Easy Pieces. 5 times, directed Jack Nicholson.
Right.
and invented the monkeys. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. Head.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm like, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first time ever on a set. I didn't know and you're trying to fake because they can fire you so easily because you're nobody.
Yeah, let's get somebody else in here.
Can we get a grip to play the cop for Cop 7?
One line, for God's sakes. Could we get? Yeah.
Which is kind of what it was. But they were blocking it. I didn't know any. I just was hoping to get through. Thank God there was a couple other day players there that I could ask. They were very friendly. So what do I do? I could ask questions because you don't want to ask like you don't know what you're doing. But my point is that I'm on a screen with the guy that was in The Godfather and whatever, and it's just it's exciting because you can't believe it. But I will say this, I didn't feel like intimidated. It's like, look, I can act. Mm-hmm. I mean, I ain't you, and I'll never be you. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you're that much better than me. You know, I mean, that's how I felt. Now, I don't know if that's an ego thing or if you kind of have to believe in yourself as an actor, but
no, I think that's true. I think that, acting is one of those things like golf, because like golf is a great sport because every once in a while you can do something just about as good as anybody could ever have done it.
Yeah.
Like you can hit a shot
once.
that close to the pin once in a while.
Which brings you back.
Do that, And acting's like that. I mean, everybody can kind of do it.
Yeah.
Some people are better at it than others, but yeah, it's funny. I have a similar experience with two people.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to hear is your story.
One was Tom Hanks.
Nice.
I did Castaway.
Okay.
I got cast, and it was just me and him. All the scenes were just me and him.
Remind me of the scenes. I hadn't seen that for so long.
Well, he's we both worked for Federal Express, and then.
So this is in the beginning of before he gets.
And then when he comes back, I'm the one that sort of takes him around, and we're going to bring you back to life, buddy.
Oh,
nice.
So that'll kill her.
I tell him at the beginning my wife's dying of cancer, and so then when he comes back, she's already dead.
Yeah.
So he apologizes, and it's a nice little friendship moment. But in the movie, he goes off on the island, and all he thinks about is Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
He looks at pictures of her. I'm like, didn't you ever think about me once? Just one time, But anyway, I'm doing this.
I got to say, I'd rather think of her than you. I'm just even I.
But I'm doing. I was really excited to get the part. I did a table read with them. I had met Tom a little bit because he produced From the Earth to the Moon, this HBO series that I did. So I knew him a little bit. But when we're in the scene, we're doing the scene, and it's about a 2-page scene. And all of a sudden, I find myself in the middle of the scene thinking, well, this is a very different character for Tom Hanks. He doesn't usually play guys like this. He's usually much more in control than like, oh, it's my line. So
you're like lost in the moment.
Yeah, I found myself just watching him.
Nice.
Like just that's what you're used to doing.
Yeah.
And the other one was Gene Hackman. I did a movie with Gene Hackman.
That would.
And Runaway Jury. And Gene Hackman was always just my hero. He was the guy, the first time I saw him was probably Bonnie and Clyde. Mm. But when I saw him, he was the guy that I looked at and I thought, maybe I could be an actor. He's not that good looking. I kind of look like him. Maybe I could do it. So I was really just like completely intimidated by Gene Hackman. I couldn't even speak to him.
Yeah.
And I worked with him for about 2 weeks. And for the first 3 days, I literally to the point where I was like, I couldn't look him in the eye. I couldn't say his name. And finally, after about the third day, he broke the ice. He started joking around with me, which made it.
So was it one-on-one, like it was just the two of you?
It was a group, but I was kind of his main henchman.
Okay.
I mean, most of the time he would talk to the group, but he and I kind of I was his right-hand man, sort of. Mm. If there was something dirty that needed to be done, he would send me. Mm-hmm. So it was, we had some good little moments together.
So, going into a film, you're preparing the best you can. And I've never done a high budget like that. So I'm not sure if you guys get to rehearse for weeks ahead. I wish I'd ever had that opportunity.
Not really.
No.
Maybe you do a table read. That's about it.
That's it. Okay. See, I always would hear the old school. We 4 weeks we were blocking and walking it up.
If there's a big scene, like I did a big scene in The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones. It's the big train wreck scene.
Yeah.
And that one, they did take a couple of days because there were so many elements. So many actors, there's so much action. They're wrecking a whole train.
So you can't go backward. I mean, that's kind of like a one-shot deal where you better nail this.
So that one they really did kind of rehearse. But most of the time, no. You get the part and you show up and they go, okay, it's your line. That's it.
So, going in, though, I'm about to work with Tom Hanks. And like you said, maybe it wasn't quite the same since you had met him before, but you didn't have, and I'm going to be honest. And so give me your thoughts on this. I would watch guys act in my lifetime. And I don't know why I thought I could act. I just thought I could. But
that's about what it takes. If you think you can do it, you can do it.
I knew I could. It wasn't that. I knew I could do that. I knew I could do this thing. I don't know why.
Confidence is 90%.
I don't know why. Yeah. I just can.
Yeah.
But I would watch guys. It's kind of like rich people. Growing up, I wasn't jealous of rich people. I was inspired. It's like, look what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, look, you can be a millionaire. All right, yeah, good for you. Now I'm going to do it. So I saw that as a catalyst to becoming the same guy. I would see great actors. I give them all the props in the world. Great actors are great actors, and there are definitely guys that you're just mind boggled. There's people that do certain things that you're going, that's out of my league.
Amazing,
But honestly, Nick, for the most part, I would see that I'm talking about the best actors in the world. Now, it's my hubris, and I'm not saying I'm in their league. I'm just saying the way I felt was, you're great, but I could do that.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. And I'm talking about whoever it is. I don't care who it is. I felt that I could. Now, could I do Hamlet or whatever like Olivier? No.
Yeah.
I
could.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I don't know that the theater, the very specific traditional theater and stuff. That's a very specific type of training. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could do it.
That's funny. That's how I started. I mean,
So
I
you
did mostly plays.
Okay.
Mostly plays. Until I was about 30, it was all I did was plays. And I think that is it's a good training ground. It does give you confidence. Because if you can stand up in front of an audience and do something over and over again and consistently get a laugh, which you do as
maybe
a
comedy then gives you a little bit more of a sense of, I'm not afraid of this.
Yeah, you do that. It's like I was talking to Kevin Pollak, and we were talking about the theater thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Kevin Pollak to do a play with me. And he was like, I don't really have that theater bug because I get that doing comedy.
Right,
He's on stage all the time. So, but that is people ask me all the time, how do I become an actor? I said, the best thing you can do for yourself is do as many plays as you can.
Okay, so let's break this down then. So what is the difference? And I've done I did high school plays and whatever, and it is fun because it's live. So there's a certain amount of energy there you ain't going to get in take 5.
Yeah,
but
maybe professional wrestling. That's about it.
But so and you get that immediate feedback, which is similar to the comedian, is that they're giving me the energy, and it's like, oh, this is killing it. But what do you think? How would you compare the two disciplines, like between theater? Is it as simple as it's live, you screw up, there's nowhere to go, so you just kind of run with it and try to make it work?
Yeah.
Whereas you get many chances in a film, but
theater's much different discipline, and I like to think of it like this. In a film, what you're dealing with is material that you're going to do once and you're never going to do it again.
Yeah.
Once you get it right, you're never going to do it again. So you play with it until it feels okay. And that's why sometimes directors or a lot of, television shows, the words are not, you don't have to be completely word perfect.
Right.
A lot of times, it's like, okay, that got the point across, right? In a play, the writing is much more carefully done, and every syllable means something. And you take 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long the rehearsal period is, and you work that thing out. And you make sure that you're going to get these beats across every single time to the audience.
And that's the director's obligation to make sure everybody's doing that.
Right, and the actor too. I mean, you learn, okay, I've got to hit this moment right here in this way in order to sling the focus back to the other character, because that's the other thing you have to do in theater. In film, the camera tells you what to look at. In theater, the actors have to tell you where to go, where to look. This is important. I'm upstage now, so look at me. I'm going to come down here. Now you look at him. So it's much more. I'd like to think of it. Theater is much more like literature that you are presenting.
Yeah.
That is carefully worked out. And film is something that you're kind of throwing it away.
If you need to move that, is that getting all tangled on you? Feel free to move it around.
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot more sense because for the most part, obviously, there's always a new theater production they're trying to get up and running, and they don't always work, and they get canceled after 3 days. But the classics, the ones that have stood the test of time, you can't screw around with that dialogue. It's proven itself. No, this is already done. You're just playing. You're just having the honor of playing this guy that Olivier played and this guy played. Now it's your turn and your take on this guy, but the words are already locked. So whereas, but have you? I mean, I've never done a film that I did it that I did it exactly word for word. I will give them the cue. I know where I need to land, so the guy knows where he's going. But I just have always had this instinct about finding flavors in this thing that are more real and feel more don't feel stunted. You can just tell this isn't how you would talk.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, there have been a couple of times, but it's funny that I did this little part in a movie called Three Billboards.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I did one scene in it. But that movie's written by a playwright. Martin McDonough directed it. He wrote it. And so that one was more like, I could tell from the monologue that I had, the way it read, it was like, okay, this needs to be specifically just like this. And there were parts of, every once in a while you hit parts of a show or a movie that is like, okay, this is really well written. This needs to be said just like this. This is the only way this will work, or it won't work as well if you don't use exactly these words. Yeah. But a lot of times you're just, you're playing with the material and you're making it immediate because that's what film has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be spontaneous and have that feeling of like, this is the first time this has ever happened.
But don't you as an actor, though, like to well, maybe you don't. I mean, there are actors that like to just do it the same way, and that's something. But don't you like to be surprised? And if it's 10 takes and each one is different, because that's the one thing that I think gets missed in the analysis of the skill set of an actor. And again, I'm not taking away from these great actors who do great jobs. They do. They're great at what they do. But if I'm given 10, 15 takes, you're going to find a good one.
Yeah.
One of those I'm going to accidentally nail one perfectly. You're going to choose that one. Yeah. And then I'm going to look like a genius. This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. I mean, Stanley Kubrick would do 100. You would want to kill yourself.
Right.
It's like, I can't think of anything else to do, but that's how he played. So I think to myself, and here's where I kind of dissected this, was that you can go on YouTube and you can find auditions, people who've auditioned. I'm talking about stars, A-listers. Here was Brad Pitt auditioning for, here's so-and-so. And sometimes they suck.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go, oh, you suck at cold reading too.
Yeah.
This is really hard. Because you don't have any direction. You don't know what they're looking for. You really don't. I think what a cold read is you don't have any context, don't have any backstory, don't know what the guy's all about. So you bring it, and if it happens, then we go, you did it. There you go. But you don't know really how to play with it and you're just rolling the dice on making a choice. But I do feel like these big budgeted things where they gave the guy 6 weeks of a professional chef to get him in shape and gave him a workout routine that somebody walked him through, and then they had the vocal coach come in and they got it, and then they did 2 weeks of rehearsal so they could, and then they get 25. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not hard to finally get a couple of those really good, put them all together and make it look like you're really good at this. So I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it just feels like, so was anybody ever, you said Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
So you said that was your hero. You got to work with him. And you kind of gave the story. So was that, you're saying that's the only guy that you were ever kind of intimidated? Like, okay, I'm not sure if I can hold my own here.
Well, more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Lee Jones was a little bit intimidating.
Is he
too.
kind of a rough guy?
He's
like
a
he's not. Yes. Well, okay, but some guys are. I've had that experience. I've heard nothing but that about him. But I thought, well, maybe here's the thing about
he's a grouch. He's grouchy.
He's like a malcontent.
And funny, it reminds me, John Cusack was kind of a grouch.
Okay.
Because I remember when we were doing Runaway Jury, it was like the director would get frustrated with him because he was grumpy and not coming out of his trailer.
I couldn't even imagine.
I don't know. And I remember the director complaining to me like, how bad can it be to be John Cusack? I mean, really, what the hell? You know?
Well, I mean, I don't understand that mindset. And I feel like, a lot of times these are people that have been doing it a long time, oftentimes got kind of their break when they're quite young.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you're ungrateful. You really don't know what you were given and how lucky.
I myself have been guilty of that to some degree. You know, even though I didn't really get going until my 30s, there was a period there where I was like, oh, yeah, I deserve to be here all along. You know, and it's like I can't imagine what I would have been like if I'd been a star at 19 or something.
But there's a difference between believing in yourself and having the confidence, which you have to have, especially if you're a lead. You are being paid a lot of money to kill this thing.
Right.
You're making this thing work or not. It's all on your back.
Yeah, it's all on you.
So I could see them being temperamental maybe or being frustrated if the other actors aren't, because it's like, dude, I got way too much to be screwing around with you not knowing your lines.
Right.
I don't have time for I get that. But when it becomes pretentious and arrogant and disrespectful to other people, like you're below me, that stuff I can't stand. Yeah. And I see that's a very Hollywoodish vibe to Hollywood in general, the town.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times. Not as much as you would think. Yeah. I mean, most of the people that I've worked with have been very gracious and very much about the work. And, you know, I only a couple of times have I kind of experienced that feeling of like, oh, this guy's really thinks he's better than me.
Well, I only had one experience where the actor was he made it not fun. Yeah. And I had been on sets like Welcome to Paradise where everybody really liked the story and everybody was just so sweet. And, these are all people, Beth Grant, who's I know Beth, and she's been in every million thing. Great actress, but she wanted to do this. They didn't pay any money, but she wanted to, I like the story. I want to be in this thing. And the guy that was in Parks and Rec, one of the guys, I forgot his name, but he was in it, and then Dennehy and you, and the guy that was in Scrubs, that was the scene you did. So a lot of very respectable actors were in this little film. But everybody was in a good mood. Like everybody dug it. Like I love this movie, and it felt good. And William Shockley, who co-wrote it.
Too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he was in that stripper movie.
Showgirls?
Yes.
Yeah.
He played ends up raping. I mean, it's
right.
hardcore.
That's right.
But he talked about how he said, enjoy this set.
Yeah.
Because it ain't always like this.
No, it's true.
And I think that, and I've done basically faith-based films, and you've done the gamut. So my guess is you go do an R-rated, darker, doesn't it kind of bring a vibe into the whole, it's a different feeling than you were doing, Gomer Pyle Return, where it's just sweet. Don't you think it does create a different vibe about the whole way the crew is looking at this thing? Because it's darker. I mean, doesn't it translate to everybody in a way?
Yeah, I did a movie called The Dead Girl with Brittany Murphy and a big cast. Franco was in it, James Franco and some other people. But I
saw that.
Yeah, it's like 5 different.
That was a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
I mean, that was really good,
but
it's very dark.
Very, very.
I remember
dark.
that now. You played a freaking you were
I was
serial
a killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Mary Beth Hurt was my wife. Yes. And it was based on this real guy who his wife kind of, she didn't necessarily participate in it, but she kind of knew what
She
he was doing.
Yeah.
And she hid it.
She was what do you call that?
Compartmentalized it,
Enabled the guy or whatever.
Very dark. And that was, in that way, that was, it was difficult to do because you have to get into that sort of like really sick mindset.
Well, most of my guys lately have been the antagonists. I get a lot of the bad guys, which by the way are fun. It's fun playing. It's fun playing that guy, and I love the departure from what I normally do, which is stand up. So it's upbeat and it's fun and it's laughter and it's joking and it's everybody hopefully feels good about you being there.
Yeah.
So to me, to play I've never really played a kind of dark, but mainly just the jerk, the bad just guy. Nasty. Just the nasty guy that you can almost love to hate, and it's but not like that where it's where you're playing like a Hannibal Lecter, where this is legit. This dude is. So you do find yourself creating and preparing for those scenes, and it is not the same because of this guy. Do you have to find something in you that you weren't sure you're excited to find?
Well, what I sort of like have come up with when playing these bad guys is, like Fried Green Tomatoes, that was kind of my big break, and I was the wife-beating Klansman husband. He's the worst guy you could get. He was a Democrat, But anyway, you come to the realization that the thing about these guys is they think what they're doing is right, right? So they don't think of themselves as evil,
right?
So that kind of takes some of that pressure off. It's like and that's what I love about playing the bad guy too, is that you can be just the worst, most awful person in the world, and it's not reality. Nobody's really getting killed or raped or whatever. So that's kind of the philosophy I carry with me, is these guys think they're right.
Well, I mean, I remember learning that in class way in the beginning. They said you never judge your character because Hitler thought it's okay to kill Jews. They're not humans.
Not only that it's okay, it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody goes into it thinking, I'm a sociopath, huh?
Yeah.
They think this is how you do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, same approach in vindicating Trump, the thing that we did.
Yeah.
We thought we were right.
Right.
There's even a line in there that's in the trailer that I think is pretty good, where Siaka says, wait a minute, isn't this election interference? And I go, well, it's not interference. Nice. We do it.
No, you did that. That was a great. You nailed that delivery too. It was very clean. Well, okay, so let's get there, since we are here for that particular film. But I did want people to know you and your career and what you've done, because it's interesting to people, and not everybody gets to be an actor. So
no, I've been very lucky. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
And but let's take the philosophical element to lead us back into it, based on what you just said. So we're living in a time in America where people no longer believe that if you disagree with me, we are at odds, and let's see if we can reason together and find a consensus. That's not where we are. No. You're the enemy now. You're evil now. Right. You need to be eliminated now. I mean, that's dangerous. And now it's not a movie, my brother.
Right.
This is really happening in our nation on our watch, where people have been in jail in solitary for 2 years and for the Jan 6 thing. Yeah. This ain't constitutional stuff. This is totalitarian stuff happening as we speak. So the left is Marxist driven, whether they know it or not. And Marx was very much about saying to his friends, even as he was postulating his theory, that you couldn't disagree with him. That was part of his mindset. It's like, I've discovered the formula for the philosophy that will make the world a utopia, and it's a scientific formula, so it can't be played with. It's just you mix these chemicals and you get this thing. So this is I have discovered the way to make everybody equal and happy. And matter of fact, I'm so good at it, I'll even run it. I'll even choose to run it.
The only way it will work is if everybody agrees.
Right.
It won't work if there's one person that doesn't agree.
Right, because it has to be absolute control. And so somebody has to be at the top of the egalitarian group.
Right.
So, we're all equal, and some animals are more equal than others.
Yeah.
Somebody has to run the show, and they're the ones that get to eliminate those who disagree for the good of the
collective.
whole, of the collective.
Yeah.
But we're really here now. So you're an American, you're a citizen, you're a man, you're a free agent, you're a human, you have a soul, you have thoughts, you're an artist, so you care about sort of being free to go whatever direction you choose. I'm assuming that you have a moral standard that you're not going to breach, but you are an autonomous human being who happen to be given the territory of the United States of America for you to live in and be part of. So what is scaring you right now about this nation, in the life you've lived, what you've seen? What is the thing that most terrifies you now about where we're at in the U.S.?
The godlessness of the left. I made a couple of movies about January 6th, about the way people who went to Washington on January 6th have been treated by the government. And I'm one of them. I was there. And so that's kind of why I just went down that path, is none of what the government was saying about that day matched up to what I saw.
Did you go into the...
I didn't.
Okay, so
I didn't go in.
Did you see people doing it? And you said,
I didn't even see them.
So you weren't even in that area.
I was outside the Capitol. I saw people singing and praying and laughing, and it looked like a party. It didn't look like violence to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got home, it's like that's all you saw, because that's all they showed you. They wouldn't show you anything except the breach at the Capitol. And I do remember walking towards the Capitol that day after the speech, just noticing that there were no cameras around. There were no news people around anywhere. That's because they were all at the Capitol, because they knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
The setup. But anyway, that's a whole different subject. The movie's called The War on Truth, if anybody wants to look it up. But that's what scares me now, because the real target of the left are people who are everything you just mentioned. Autonomous, people with souls, people who have a higher power than government, because those people are the ones that have to be eliminated for the Marxist philosophy to work. Right. And that's what they always do. That's what they've done in every communist country. Whenever they've taken power, they have eliminated or intimidated everybody into submission. And that's what's happening here. Yeah. That's what we're up against. And the reason they go after Trump so hard, and they've tried to assassinate him twice, that we know of, probably more than that, is that it's not just him. It's everybody that supports him, because the people that support him are the people that believe in human freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I got to say that I'm not some kind of cult, Trump follower guy or whatever. He's clearly does things that I go, dude, why do you say things like, he's not always his own best friend.
No, absolutely.
In the way that he carries himself. And I just feel like, brother, you have so many people that do believe in what you're putting out there, what you are going to support, which is all I care about. What are you going to do when you're in office? Right. Don't care if you're a woman. Don't care what color. Don't care if you're a hunchback. Don't care if you have no arms. No. Don't care. Right. What's your policy? Right. So I can know if I want to follow that or not. That's all I care about. And a lot of what his policy is, I agree with. I've said time to definitely go that direction. But when he was shot and got hit, and he gets up, and it's almost like you couldn't have scripted. It's like, this is ridiculous.
No, it is.
How did you not get killed? Number one,
right?
I mean, to shoot an AR from any and get close enough to your head that you're nicked.
Yeah.
What are the odds that you didn't at least miss by a mile or kill him?
I know.
So I almost think to myself, and I'm very careful with what I'm about to say, because I'm a Christ follower.
Yeah.
But I go, is this providence?
Yeah.
Is God going, I'm choosing this dude, and he's going to be, and I don't know if he's a Christian. I don't know anything about that element. I know he's got a lot of Christians that support him, and then they are castigated because it's like, well, look at this man. What kind of a Christian? He was a philanderer, and they're saying, well, yeah, he was. He doesn't do any now. Yeah. I mean, if I was a billionaire who wasn't a Christian in the 80s in New York, I'd be doing every woman. That's what you do when you don't have a moral standard. So it seems like something is afoot with this guy.
Yeah.
If it's not stolen, if you are allowed to vote,
Sure.
it feels like he's going to win. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like that to me too. And it's it's not like in the Bible that God ever used anybody that wasn't a Christian, right?
Right.
I mean,
He always waited till they sanctified themselves
Right.
and were sinless, and he waited 7 years for them to prove they were perfect before he would allow them to move
that's
in.
right. And so that's the thing. That's why the left always projects. Dude. They're always telling you who they really are by what they say you are.
That's right.
And they always accuse people like me of being, in a cult.
Right.
Like, I know what Trump is. I don't worship Trump. He is, I'm not electing a cult leader. I'm not electing a priest. I want somebody in there to do a certain job.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like I want a good plumber.
No, that's it.
Well,
and the thing is, and here's a rarity, maybe a one of a kind-ity. He was president once. We can actually see what he actually did one time. He had 4 years of kind of
He's going to be a dictator.
It's like, well, why didn't he dictate then?
Yeah.
He had a shot to dictate. He actually he was there. And the gas prices were down, the food was down. He was letting us have our own energy. Nick, I don't understand. That's why I know two things. One, it's a spiritual. There's something deeply evil and spiritual about me because people can't think. It's like their mind is clouded. A guy says he's a girl, he is. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But they believe it.
Oh, yeah.
So something else is going on.
They've been told that they're evil if they don't believe it.
Okay, but
if you don't believe that that's possible, then you're a bigot.
But how weak
do
you have to be that you will censor reality to get along?
Yeah.
How sick, what a wasted life you have.
Exactly.
That you have no virtue, no morality. Everybody loves the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at him. He's got a beautiful crowd. Look at his wonderful cape just beckoing. And then one little kid, he's naked. Oh, he broke the spell.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks they're the kid.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Corona hit a few years ago. None of you were the kid.
No.
Every one of you said, that is the nicest looking pants.
Yeah.
Are those leather? Is that leather shoes? Are those Italian?
Right.
You all got in line. Not me. I didn't wear I got a video of me walking through Chicago airport in 2020 with no mask going, can you believe this? Is anybody going to jump in and go, you're right? I'm thinking I'm going to create I'm going to create a groundswell of patriots. Right. He's right. Enough with these. What do you want me to do? How many more serums do I? Yeah. I'm going, you don't care. That's the scariest thing for me.
Yeah.
People don't care about liberty. How am I going to defend this, brother, if the guy next to me doesn't give a crap?
No.
How?
Yeah. And that the whole COVID thing was like the hive mentality. I mean, it was almost like you're not really a human being if you don't do what the rest of us are doing. If you don't accept what the rest of us.
Well, it's a religion.
Yeah.
They had a religious formula. Here's what makes you good. Here's how you, and if you do what is told, then that's how you sponge yourself of sin. We had people at the top who were the high priests, the Faucis and Pfizers and everything. So they have this. It's a religion, and when the quicker you understand, and it's an old one.
Yeah.
It's an old religion that's simply being repackaged. Mm-hmm. Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. No. This is an old story being retold in the form of power. It's always about power and ego. Yeah. And like you said, systemic narcissism, whatever they claim you are, is because it's what they are. So they project it onto you. It confuses people. And the weak ones will accept it instead of going, I'm not that. You don't slander me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you looking back, it's like the people that could see that for what it was. I remember I was sitting with two of my best friends in Burbank, California, when the whole COVID thing came out, 15 days to stop the spread. And we're all sitting there in my little office going, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
Don't you think this is nonsense?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it's, not to oversimplify it, but it's, if you have a personal relationship with God, then you are able to see.
Can discern.
Yeah, you can see those things. And that was the major, common aspect of the people who got in line for 5, 6 booster shots and wore the mask for 2 years and all that. Not a personal relationship with God.
No, but they need one. And so, G.K. Chesterton said something amazing. He said, when you stop believing in God, you don't believe in nothing. You believe in anything.
Yeah.
And so if you don't believe in God and you think, well, I just will live my life ethically without God and I'll just create my own subjective perspective and that's how I'm going to run things. And what you don't understand is you can't. You're designed to serve God because he made you. So you'll simply fill him in with an idol. You'll find something else to worship, and that's what you'll do. And whether you know it or not, you're worshiping something, and it's evil. If it ain't God. If it ain't the God of Abraham.
And that's why the enemy of the left are the religious people, are the people that have that.
Right. Well, and the state has to be worshipped for them to have any control. But, it is worldwide. World Economic Forum and CDC and the WHO, these institutions that are trying to have absolute control over your autonomy. You can't travel. If they can do that, or digitize your money.
Yeah. You can't work. You can't buy anything.
Well, then you wouldn't.
You can't buy and sell.
Sorry, buy and sell without the mark of your whatever thing, and that's how they'll do it. They'll put it in your skin, so you don't even have to worry about having a credit card in, which just goes, and that's already here. So we are, it's like God's wrapping up everything. We're at chapter the
Everything
finale.
I wrote down for you is coming true now.
So now does it make sense? So vindicating Trump, you got the script. Obviously, you've already worked with Dinesh and his project, so you didn't have to think twice. Yeah. But what do you like about the film? What do you feel like its most important attributes going to be for people to see it?
In the narrative sections, the sections with actors that we do, it's a film that dramatizes what everybody kind of thinks is going on behind the scenes that they're obviously hiding. Everybody has this sense that behind the scenes, there's somebody orchestrating all these ridiculous lawfare cases that have been brought against Trump, one after the other, in different jurisdictions. They're moving players from the federal government into New York State to run the prosecution there. And it's like everybody has this sense that there is someone behind the scenes coordinating all these things. And that's what we do in Vindicating Trump, is bring that to life and show you what that would look like.
Right. But it seems as though the research was to try to be as accurate as they could about what really did. Obviously, they have to take liberties because they weren't there, but it does feel like, you see the results. You see what they did. So, how they got there. But here's the thing, Nick, who's running the show, man? None of the Democrats are that smart. There's something bigger than all of this that none of us have ever seen.
Right.
Worldwide. It's a big thing, and it's this power that we just didn't know was out there that maybe has been doing this for millennia.
Oh, it has been. I think it is.
Like the old money and the Rothschilds and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all really what's going on. These guys have such deep roots because it's been happening so long that they can kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah. Well, there has always been on this planet a push towards slavery. Always. And so what's America? America is the last bastion of individual liberty, human freedom. They have to destroy that in order for them to have what they want, which is global control, global socialism. We're going to run the world because you idiots you're screwing it up, and we know how to do it better, but you all have to agree with us. So they have got to destroy America. So that's my heart monitor.
Oh, I thought it was the FBI was after you.
It could be. Could be. But they have to destroy America. That is the thing. And so I do think that it is the Democrats and part of the Republican Party. They have been bought off. They're part of this cabal. They either are true believers or they are getting money for it.
Or they're compromised.
Or they're compromised.
They
or
have
they're
something
blackmailed.
where they can show them, you want to see this picture with the little kid? Okay, then.
Look at the whole P. Diddy thing, that's just coming out now. It's like, it explains so much.
Yes. And the Epstein thing, and I feel like in some respect, it's almost like we didn't want to believe it. It's like, please tell me things aren't this dark. Please tell me they're not really taking 6-year-olds.
That's the toughest thing.
And sexually enslaving. I mean, is this really what we got going? And the border where they're taking these kids, it's like, this is as evil as it gets.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Right.
As evil as that.
Right.
Even killing somebody is, at least they're out of their misery.
Mm-hmm.
But to put somebody into some sexual slavery years of, I mean, that's
that's evil. That is, otherworldly.
It is.
Evil.
It's demonic. It's satanic. Well, so you play. What character do you play in Vindicating Trump? Let's hear it. Let's just give them a little taste.
I thought of myself as just sort of a composite, like a guy behind the scenes sort of fixer guy. Like he's the guy that you call when the dirtiest of dirty work has to be done, and he's the one that kind of coordinates it and knows how to do it, or he can facilitate it.
Would he be like with a CIA kind of maverick or FBI-ish type dude, has access to all
He's probably, I would think of him, he's probably has experience in all those things, but now he's not connected to any of those things. He can't be traced, in other words. He cannot be pinpointed as being part of any actual government thing.
Gotcha.
He's paid by somebody else.
And those guys exist. Yeah. These guys that kind of are on their own, the hitmen and all that, type of person that can is a free agent that is contacted by certain people when things need to be accomplished.
Yeah, he's kind of a supervillain. Yeah. He has made his reputation among the right dark circles that they know this guy can get it done. So.
Well, let's also be frank enough and honest enough to know that we have been extremely let down and betrayed by the Republicans. These people are either the most spineless cowards, or they have betrayed us to a level that is just unprecedented. Because I've always said that. I probably told you this when we were shooting all this. I don't want to fight a demon, but at least I know what I'm dealing with. I know what he believes. I know what he stands for. I know who my God is. I know how to get out the proper weaponry, because I know what I'm dealing with. It's going to be hard. It's going to be bloody, but I get who this enemy is. But when you say I got your six, because it's just you and me out in this field, so I'll watch behind you and you watch, okay, and here comes the drone.
Yeah.
That's Judas. And that's worse than demons to me.
Yeah.
Is the guy that you trusted, and then he's the one that shot you in the back, that he's the one that gave you the kiss.
Yeah.
So what is your thoughts about, is there anybody out there, anybody in Congress, in the Senate, that is legit, that we can count on? We're in Tennessee. I think Marsha Blackburn is probably legit. I think she is one of us. I think she's the most conservative senator in the U.S. But I don't.
There's a few.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If I can trust anybody.
Well, in all the work that I've done with all the January 6th people, 1,500 individuals have already been arrested, put through the judicial ringer by this corrupt government, and seeing the destruction in these families, it's heartbreaking. That's what my movies are about, is the human cost.
So you produce these?
I produced them, and I did the interviews, and it's the human cost of what the government's doing. You get to know who these people are. And invariably, the question I continue to be asked by everybody, why are the Republicans not doing anything to help these people?
What's the answer?
And, I've asked numerous people. The best answer I got was from a guy named Darren Beatty, who runs Revolver News. And he says, by and large, these people are transactional politicians. They get into office, they get elected in their district, and then after they get in there and they get a taste of power, and they get a taste of what it's like to be a senator, to be in the House of Representatives, all they can think about is, how do I stay here? So they look at every issue that comes before them, they look at it as a transaction. Does this help me in my district, or does this hurt me? And for the most part, these people look at the January 6th thing and go, those people have been so demonized. That day has been, characterized as the most horrible day in human history. it's Hiroshima and the Civil War all rolled into one. So I don't want to get involved. So they're afraid of it. They're afraid to make a choice in that area. And that's just one issue. There are other issues like that, where they're afraid to really make a strong choice because it might hurt them in their. And there's also an aspect, too, this is just my personal belief, and having played this character in the movie, I think that when these people get elected to office, they're joyful and they get in there and they go, wow, I'm really going to do some good.
Yeah.
And then somebody from a 3-letter agency drops by and goes, by the way, just so you know, we have these pictures of you and these.
It's probably true.
I mean, look what they're doing to Mark Robinson, who's running in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's like we have all this stuff on you. So just keep that in mind whenever you're making a decision on how to vote.
Well, the sad truth is that this is where we're at. I don't know how long we can remain as a free country. Certainly, if the Constitution is being breached, then there's not a lot. That's the rule book. That's what gives us our rights. So if that's no longer being honored, then that is a huge destruction of where we would normally have gone to right the ship. If we can't vote, and the fact that we even wonder if we can, maybe it's all been legit. I don't think so, no. But let's pretend that it was. But the fact that we don't believe that anymore, or even are suspect, is disheartening and destructive to a republic, because you don't even know if I can count on this. Well, anyways, listen, buddy. Vindicating Trump just came out this past Friday. On the September 27th, but we're on Monday, so it's just 3 days later. So it's still out there. Did real well over the weekend, so they're trying to keep it in theaters. Go see it if you believe in this type of material. Go look up. Do you have a website, perhaps they want to see what you're up to or see your films?
Best thing to do is just look at me on Twitter, X.
Okay.
Yes, Nick Searcy on X.
Perfect.
And I have a book out on Amazon about my life.
Oh, nice.
Justify This.
Okay, well, there you go. So that's something to get. I'm going to do one more question that goes just to my subscribers, the Militia of the Mind, and the Mighty 10,000 that want to actually pray and believe that God will show us some mercy on this earth. So let's just go out with one special question. Let's make it lighthearted. So tell me about the most, I don't know, funniest or interesting story about some famous person you got to work with that nobody would have known. That would just be a fun story. They go, oh, Tom Hanks did that, or just anybody you can think of that would be an interesting story about some famous person, perhaps, that you experienced when you were on the set with him. Can you come up with?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind.
Hey, guys, I'm interrupting my own interview. If you want the answer that you haven't heard yet, go to bradstine.com and join one of the 3 tiers. It is the Militia of the Mind, it is the Warrior level, or it is the Special Forces. And then you'll get all kinds of special content and bonus answers to make you smarter than you could ever imagine. Go there now, jump on, and join the Mighty 10,000. Again, Nick Searcy, Vindicating Trump, just came out this weekend. Go see it. Nick, thank you so much. It was a pleasure working with you, getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a neighbor down the road, so maybe we'll have a coffee now and again. Folks, remember this and remember it well. This is America, and I don't worship it. I worship God Almighty, but I'm grateful for it, and I'm hoping it sticks around for my lineage. I'm getting old. All I have left is my legacy. And if you're a Christ follower, you have an obligation to speak truth at all times as a warrior. And if you are a patriot, you have an obligation to those who died to keep you here free to take a turn. And it's our turn. So that's what it means. That's what it's about. Remember, if they ever say you're politically incorrect, always say thank you for the compliment. Nothing greater than mocking a Marxist. And I'm just a comic, just an actor. I'm just a podcast guy. I'm just an American, just a Christian, just a conservative. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm just putting the woke back to sleep. See you next Monday.